The slap came without warning, sharp and brutal across her face while she was just trying to do her job. And the model stood there smirking like she'd swatted an annoying insect instead of a human being. What that arrogant woman didn't know was that the black event planner she'd just struck was married to the most dangerous man in the city, and he was about to walk through those doors. Smash the like button because this is about to be absolutely satisfying to watch unfold. Then hit subscribe so you catch every part of this incredible story. Here's exactly what went down. Bah! The slap reverberated across the hotel ballroom. Aurelia's hands traveled to her blazing cheek, eyes stinging as the tall model, Sabrina, towered over her with a sneer. The decorations Aurelia had spent 3 hours arranging lay scattered across the floor, white orchids crushed under designer heels. You call this professional? My dog could plan better events than you, Sabrina hissed, flipping her hair like the model she was. Clean this mess up before I have you fired. Aurelia swallowed the painful lumps in her throats as she bent down to gather the flowers with quivering hands. She'd only been promoted to event planner 2 weeks ago, transferred from catering because her boss saw potential. This fashion show was supposed to be her big break, not her humiliation. Sabrina's friends laughed from their corner, bringing their phones out and probably recording. Great. Just great. I'll fix it, Aurelia managed, voice barely steady. You better, or I'm calling your supervisor. Matter of fact, I'll make sure you never work in Accra again. Sabrina examined her nails like Aurelia wasn't worth another second of attention. The ballroom doors slammed open. Aurelia didn't look up, too focused on salvaging what she could. Heavy footsteps approached, multiple people by the sound of it. The chatter in the room died instantly, replaced by an uncomfortable silence that made Aurelia's skin prickle. Who touched my wife? The voice was cold, accented, and absolutely terrifying in its calmness. Aurelia's head snapped up. A man stood in the center of the ballroom, flanked by 6 others in dark suits. He was Korean, maybe early 30s, with sharp features and eyes that could cut glass. His presence seemed to fill every corner of the room, commanding attention without effort. Sabrina had gone pale. What? Who are you? Do-joon Park. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. And I asked a question. Aurelia scrambled to her feet, confused. Wife. She wasn't anyone's wife. There had to be some mistake. The man's gaze found hers across the room, and something flickered in his expression. Recognition, maybe relief. He moved toward her with purpose, his men following like shadows. I'm sorry, there's been a misunderstanding, Aurelia started, but he was already beside her, fingers gently tilting her chin to examine her reddened cheek. Who did this? His tone could freeze fire. Nobody, Her. One of his men pointed at Sabrina, who looked ready to bolt. Security footage shows everything, boss. Do-joon's jaw worked. He turned slowly to face the model, and Aurelia watched Sabrina shrink under his stare. Do you know who I am? He asked quietly. Sabrina shook her head, voice gone. Good. Let's keep it that way. But understand this. He stepped closer to the model, and Aurelia noticed everyone in the room seemed to be holding their breath. You will apologize to my wife. You will leave this city within 24 hours. And if I ever hear you've harmed another person trying to do their job, what happens next won't be a warning. I'm sorry, Sabrina whispered, tears streaming down her face now. I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Not to me. Do-joon gestured toward Aurelia. The model turned, mascara running. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Please. Just go, Aurelia said quietly, still trying to process what was happening. Sabrina practically ran from the ballroom, her friends scrambling after her. The moment they left, Do-joon's entire demeanor shifted. His shoulders relaxed, and when he looked at Aurelia again, his eyes held something almost vulnerable. Are you all right? Does it hurt badly? I'm fine, but I think you have the wrong person. I'm not your wife. I'm not anyone's wife. He smiled then, small and sad. I know. Not yet anyway. But you will be Aurelia. In 3 months, according to the timeline. I'm from the future. I know how this sounds, believe me, but I had to come back. You died. In my time you died and I. His voice cracked. I couldn't live with that. Aurelia took a step back. This was insane. Time travel. Future wife. The man was clearly delusional, no matter how attractive or powerful he seemed. I should call security, she said. Wait. Please. He pulled something from his pocket. A photo, edges worn like it had been handled countless times. Look. Against her better judgment, Aurelia looked. The photo showed her, maybe 5 years older, in a white dress beside this same man in a black suit. They were smiling, her hand on her pregnant belly. His arms wrapped around her from behind. The happiness in both their faces was unmistakable. That's not possible. How did you? Photoshop exists, she said firmly, handing it back. This is an elaborate scam or you're confused. But either way, I have an event to salvage. I know your favorite food is jollof rice with extra peppers, even though it makes you hiccup. I know you have a scar on your left ankle from when you fell off a bike at age 7. I know you sing off-key in the shower and think nobody can hear but everyone can. His eyes pleaded with her. I know you're afraid of thunderstorms and your mother's name was Rosemary and she passed when you were 19 and you still talk to her photo every night before bed. Aurelia's blood went cold. How? Nobody knows that. How do you know that? Because you told me. You'll tell me. Time is complicated, but my feelings aren't. He took a careful step closer. I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm not even asking you to believe me right now. I'm just asking for a chance to protect you, to change what happened. In 3 weeks, there's going to be an accident at the convention center downtown. You're scheduled to work an event there. You'll die in the structural collapse unless what? You swoop in and save me. Aurelia's voice rose. This is crazy. You're crazy. Maybe. Probably. But I'm also telling the truth. He gestured to his men. Leave us. Wait outside. They hesitated but obeyed, filing out until only Aurelia and Do-joon remained in the massive ballroom. I run a import-export business, he said. Some of it legal, most of it complicated. I came to Ghana 5 years ago from Busan, built an empire, made enemies. When I met you, when I'll meet you, it was at a charity gala. You were serving champagne, trying to break into event planning. I spilled wine on your uniform. You told me I had the coordination of a drunk elephant. I fell in love right there. Despite everything, Aurelia felt a smile tugging at her lips. That does sound like something I'd say. We got married within 6 months. Too fast, everyone said. But when you know, you know. And I knew. His expression darkened. But I also had enemies I didn't take seriously enough. Someone sabotaged that building, targeted the event because they knew you'd be there. They wanted to hurt me by destroying what I loved most. Who? Aurelia asked, drawn into the story despite herself. My half-brother, Do-joon Park. He's here in Accra too, working under a different name, Hendrix Mensa. He owns 3 hotels including this one. He's been building his own empire in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Aurelia's supervisor flashed through her mind. Hendrix Mensa, the hotel magnate who'd hired her company for tonight's event. Young, charming, with kind eyes that made her feel seen. He'd complimented her work just yesterday, said she had real talent. No, she breathed. Hendrix. He's been nothing but nice to me. That's his game. Get close, gain trust, wait for the perfect opportunity. Do-joon's hands clenched into fists. In the original timeline, you never knew. You died thinking it was just bad luck. But I found evidence later, too late to save you. This time, I'm not making the same mistake. A knock interrupted them. One of Do-joon's men poked his head in, face grim. Boss, we have a problem. Tae-hwan just entered the building through the east entrance. He's asking for Miss Aurelia. Do-joon cursed in Korean, then looked at Aurelia. He knows I'm here. He probably has people watching me, tracking my movements. This is going to accelerate his plans. I still don't understand why he'd want to hurt me if we haven't even met in this timeline or whatever. Because he's seen me. He knows I wouldn't come back unless it was for something vital. He's smart enough to figure out you're the reason. Do-joon moved closer, urgent now. Aurelia, I need you to trust me. Just for today. Let me get you somewhere safe while I handle this. Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Aurelia recognized the casual, confident stride before Hendrix appeared in the doorway. His smile warm and utterly unthreatening. Aurelia, there you are. I heard there was some trouble with. His eyes landed on Do-joon, and something flickered across his face. Surprise, calculation, then that friendly mask again. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've met. I'm Hendrix Mensa, owner of this hotel. Do-joon Park. Aurelia's fiancé. The lie came smooth as silk. I was just making sure she's all right after that incident with the model. Hendrix's smile never wavered, but Aurelia caught the tension in his shoulders. Fiancé. Aurelia, you never mentioned. It's new, Aurelia heard herself say, surprising herself. Maybe it was the photo, maybe the way Do-joon looked at her like she hung the moon, or maybe just the fact that Hendrix's smile suddenly seemed less warm and more calculating. Very new. Congratulations. Hendrix's tone was pleasant, but his eyes were cold as they assessed Do-joon. I hope you'll both still attend the charity gala next month. Aurelia's company is handling the arrangements, and I specifically requested her talents. We'll see, Do-joon said. Depends on our schedule. The air between the two men crackled with unspoken challenge. Aurelia felt like a rope in a tug-of-war she didn't understand. Well, I'll let you two talk. Aurelia, remember we have our planning meeting tomorrow at 10. Hendrix nodded politely and left, but Aurelia caught him glancing back once, expression unreadable. The moment Hendrix disappeared, Do-joon exhaled roughly. That was dangerous. Now he knows you're under my protection. I'm not under anyone's protection. I can take care of myself. But Aurelia's voice lacked conviction. Something about Hendrix's reaction had unsettled her. I know you can. Future, you took down 3 armed men with a champagne bottle and a curtain rod when they tried to break into our home. Do-joon's eyes softened. You're the strongest person I've ever met. But strength doesn't stop a building from collapsing. If what you're saying is true, and that's a massive if, why not just tell me not to go to that event? Why all this dramatic protection stuff? Because knowing doesn't change anything. In another timeline, I tried warning you without explaining why. You went anyway because duty and because you thought I was controlling. You died the same way. His voice dropped. I've watched you die 3 times now, Aurelia. 3 different timelines. This is my last chance. The device I used to come back is destroyed. One-way trip only. The weight of his words settled over her. 3 times, she whispered. First time I didn't know it would happen. Second time I tried prevention without truth. Third time I thought I could hide you away, but you left because you felt trapped. He stepped closer, not touching but close enough that she could feel his warmth. This time I'm trying something different. Honesty. I'm asking you to choose to let me help. Aurelia wanted to run, to dismiss this whole impossible situation. But those details he knew, that photo, the way her cheeks still stung from Sabrina's slap, and how he'd looked ready to burn the world down over it. 1 week, she found herself saying. I'll give you 1 week to prove this isn't some elaborate con. But I'm not hiding. Have a job, a life. You want to protect me. Do it without caging me. Relief washed over his features. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. And if nothing happens, if there's no danger and you're just, I don't know, delusional, then I'll walk away. You'll never see me again. The pain in his voice suggested that outcome would destroy him, but he meant it. Aurelia's phone buzzed. Her boss, asking if the event was salvaged. But Fashion show. The job she still needed to do. I have to work, she said. Can your people help me reset these decorations in the next hour? Do-joon smiled, genuine and warm. They'd love to. Fair warning though. Minseo once arranged flowers for a Yakuza wedding and accidentally used funeral arrangements. Caused quite the diplomatic incident. Despite everything, Aurelia laughed. Great. Tell him to just follow my instructions exactly. The next hour blurred by. Do-joon's men. Turns out they weren't just bodyguards but trained in everything from security to, apparently, event decoration. Helped her transform the ballroom back into something spectacular. Do-joon himself worked alongside her, taking direction without complaint. His expensive suit jacket discarded over a chair. You're good at this, Aurelia commented as he adjusted a centerpiece to her specifications. I watched you work hundreds of times. Learned some things by proximity. He glanced at her, something playful in his expression now. Plus in the third timeline, I actually tried becoming an event planner to understand your world better. Turns out I'm terrible with brides but decent with flowers. You became an event planner? A Mafia boss became an event planner. Import-export businessman, he corrected with a grin. The Mafia thing is exaggerated. Mostly. Aurelia shook her head, grinning despite herself. This was insane. All of it. Yet here she was, arranging orchids with a man who claimed to be her time-traveling husband while his crew of suited associates hung fairy lights. The fashion show went flawlessly. Sabrina's replacement arrived within hours. Professional, polite, effusively grateful for the opportunity. Aurelia's boss praised her crisis management. Hinted at bigger projects coming her way. Through it all, Do-joon stayed nearby, never intrusive but always present. Watching. Protecting. When the last guest finally left, Aurelia collapsed into a chair, exhausted. Do-joon appeared beside her with water and something wrapped in banana leaves. You haven't eaten in 8 hours. I had my chef make this. He unwrapped it to reveal perfectly spiced jollof rice. Aurelia's stomach growled. How did you? I told you. I know you. He settled into the chair beside hers, not eating, just watching her with that soft expression that made her heart do weird things. The rice was perfect. Exactly right. She hiccuped on the second bite, and Do-joon laughed quietly. Every time, he murmured. This is still crazy, Aurelia said between bites. I know. I should probably have you arrested for stalking. Probably. But I'm not going to. I appreciate that. They sat in comfortable silence while Aurelia ate. Outside, rain had started, thunder rumbling in the distance. Aurelia tensed automatically. Do-joon noticed. Hey, it's just noise. Nothing to fear. I know that logically. But logic and fear don't always speak the same language. He shifted slightly, not touching but closer. Want to talk about something else? Distraction helps. Tell me about the future. Or future. The one I don't get to have. His expression shuttered briefly, then opened again. We had a dog. Stupid thing you found abandoned near the market. Some mixed breed that looked like a mop fell in love with a footstool. You named him Pineapple. Aurelia snorted. Pineapple. You said he was prickly on the outside but sweet inside. I said that made no sense. You said I made no sense. We argued about it for 3 days before I gave in because... He paused, smile bittersweet. Because seeing you happy mattered more than being right. What else? You snore. Not loud, just these little sounds like a kitten with sinus problems. You always deny it, but I recorded evidence once. You threw your shoe at me. He was smiling fully now, lost in memories. Sunday mornings were sacred. No work, no phones. Just us, coffee, and terrible reality TV you pretended not to love. You'd cry every time someone got eliminated from cooking competitions. Happy tears, you insisted, because you were proud of them for trying. Thunder cracked overhead, closer now. Aurelia flinched, and without thinking, Do-joon's hand found hers. Warm, solid, real. Keep talking, she whispered. You wanted 3 kids. I wanted 2. We compromised on 4 because neither of us could do math apparently. You were pregnant with our first when. He stopped, swallowed hard. When it happened. A girl. We just decided on the name Rosemary after your mother. Tears stung Aurelia's eyes. I would have liked that. You did. You loved it. You said it meant we'd carry her forward. Keep her alive through new life. His thumb traced circles on her hand, probably unconsciously. I'm sorry. This is too much, too soon. No. Aurelia squeezed his hand. No, I asked. I want to know. The storm raged outside, but somehow with Do-joon beside her, it felt less terrifying. They talked for hours. Him sharing pieces of a future that would never happen. Her asking questions that had no business making sense. Around midnight, one of his men appeared, clearing his throat awkwardly. Boss, we have intel. Taehwan met with someone tonight. The construction inspector for the convention center project. Do-joon tensed. How solid is this information? Very. Our inside man got photos. He handed over a tablet showing grainy surveillance images. Hendrix or Taehwan, or whoever he really was, shaking hands with a man Aurelia recognized from permit meetings. Money exchanged hands. He's accelerating, Do-joon muttered. The gala isn't for 3 weeks. What's happening before that? There's a smaller event at the convention center this Friday, Aurelia said quietly. Corporate luncheon. My company is handling it, but I'm not assigned. They have me on a wedding that day instead. He'll switch you. Find a reason you need to be there instead. Do-joon started pacing. We need to get ahead of this. Or I just don't go. You said knowing helps, now I know. I'll refuse the assignment. And he'll find another way. Another time, another method. Taehwan is patient, but he's also creative. Do-joon stopped, looked at her. Unless we force his hand. Make him act on our terms, not his. That sounds dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. But I'm not losing you again, Aurelia. Not to him, not to fate, not to anything. The intensity in his voice made her shiver. Trust me. She should say no. Every rational part of her brain screamed it. But something deeper, something that recognized the truth in his impossible story, made her nod. Okay. What's the plan? The plan turned out to be equal parts brilliant and terrifying. Do-joon wanted to stage their engagement publicly, make it clear to Taehwan that Aurelia was untouchable. More than that, he wanted to use the attention to investigate the convention center, get people looking at the construction before anyone could sabotage it. Public pressure prevents quiet crimes, he explained over breakfast the next morning at his hotel suite. If everyone's watching the building because of our engagement party there, he can't make his move without exposure. Your engagement party that isn't real, Aurelia pointed out, sipping coffee that probably cost more than her monthly rent. It feels real to me. He said it simply, without manipulation or pressure. Just fact. Aurelia didn't know what to do with that, so she changed the subject. When? Friday. Same day as that corporate luncheon. We booked the convention center for our event instead. Bigger and more public. He'll have to react. And if he just waits, picks another target. He won't. I know my brother. He's prideful, arrogant. Me claiming you so publicly will infuriate him. He'll see it as a challenge, a theft of something he was planning to use against me. He'll move fast and sloppy. Aurelia's phone rang. Her boss voice excited. Aurelia, amazing news. Mr. Mensah specifically requested you for his corporate luncheon Friday. Huge opportunity. He's talking about making you lead planner for all his properties if this goes well. She met Do-joon's eyes across the table. He'd called it exactly. Actually, I'm not available Friday. Family emergency, I'll be out of town. The lie came easier than it should. Silence, then confusion in her boss's voice. But you're scheduled for the Adebayo wedding, which is local. I can shift that to someone else. The emergency is sudden. I leave Thursday night, won't be back until Monday. I'm really sorry. More silence. Then reluctantly. All right. I'll find someone else for both events. But Aurelia, Mr. Mensah won't be happy. This could affect your trajectory here. I understand. She hung up feeling sick. That job meant everything to her career. He's going to know I'm avoiding him. Good. Let him know. Let him wonder what I told you. Do-joon pushed a plate toward her. Fruit, pastries, eggs cooked exactly how she preferred, though she'd never told him. Right, because future her had. This was giving her a headache. Eat. We have a lot to plan. By Thursday evening, half of Accra knew about the surprise engagement party at the convention center. Do-joon had connections with media, society pages, influencers. Photos of him and Aurelia together, carefully staged to look candid, flooded social networks. The narrative wrote itself. Mysterious Korean businessman sweeps local event planner off her feet, whirlwind romance, fairy tale engagement. Aurelia watched herself become a stranger online. People dissecting her looks, her background, speculating about gold digging and green cards. It stung more than she expected. Ignore them, Do-joon said, finding her scrolling through comments at midnight. They don't know you. Their opinions aren't real. But they shape reality. What if this ruins my reputation? What if after you leave, because you will leave when nothing happens, I'm just the girl who faked an engagement for attention? He sat beside her on the hotel couch, careful not to crowd. First, something will happen. Taehwan can't resist. Second, if I'm wrong and I do leave, I'll make sure everyone knows it was my fault. You'll come out clean. You can't control everything. No, but I can try. He ran a hand through his hair, exhausted. She'd learned he did that when stressed. Aurelia, I know this is overwhelming. You've known me 4 days. I've known you 5 years. The balance is unfair, the situation is impossible, and I'm asking you to trust someone who sounds delusional. But I'm trying to do right by you in a situation where there is no perfect option. I know. And she did. Despite everything, she believed he believed it all. Whether it was true remained to be seen, but his conviction was absolute. What happens at this party? Besides being publicly engaged to a man I barely know. We watch. My people will be everywhere. Guests, servers, security, construction crew. If Taehwan makes a move, we'll catch him. If he doesn't, we've at least delayed whatever he's planning while we investigate further. And then we figure out the next step together. He looked at her, really looked. I'm not making decisions for you, Aurelia. I did that in timeline 3 and it destroyed us before we even began. Whatever happens next, it's your choice. Thunder rumbled outside. Aurelia barely flinched this time, too focused on the man beside her who'd time-traveled 3 times just to save her life. I think I'm starting to believe you, she admitted quietly. Yeah. I still think you might be crazy, but it feels true. All of it. He smiled, soft and genuine. Crazy and true aren't mutually exclusive. Friday arrived too quickly. The convention center gleamed with last-minute preparations. Flowers, lights, elegant table settings. Do-joon had hired her company to handle it, requested her specifically through official channels this time. The irony wasn't lost on her. Her boss buzzed around, thrilled at the exposure and budget, occasionally shooting Aurelia curious looks that suggested 1,000 questions she was too professional to ask during work hours. Aurelia wore a dress Do-joon had sent over. Deep blue, elegant without being showy. It fit perfectly because of course it did, because he knew her measurements from a future where they shared a closet and a life. You look beautiful, he said when he arrived, formal in a dark suit. No tie though, top button undone. She'd learn later he hated formal ties, said they felt like elegant nooses. You clean up okay yourself. She was nervous, palms sweating. Hundreds of guests were arriving. Business associates, society figures, press. All here to celebrate an engagement that wasn't real while stopping a murder that might not happen. His hand found the small of her back, steadying. Hey, we've got this. Just smile, let me do the talking when needed, and stay alert. Anything feels off, anyone approaches who makes you uncomfortable, you signal me. We practiced this. They had. Aurelia tucked her hair behind her ear if she felt unsafe. His cue to intervene. Simple, effective. The party started smoothly. Too smoothly. Guests mingled, champagne flowed. A string quartet played something classical and pretty. Do-joon introduced her to people whose names she immediately forgot. His hand never leaving her back or waist, a constant warm presence. You're good at this, she murmured during a brief break between conversations. I've had practice. These events used to terrify me until you taught me to see them as just conversations with multiple people. One person at a time, you said. Just be present with whoever's in front of you. Smart woman, this future me. The smartest. His eyes found hers, held. Dance with me. The quartet had shifted to something slower. Couples moving onto the floor. Aurelia let him lead her into the crowd. His hand settling at her waist, hers on his shoulder. They'd never danced before, yet somehow they moved together easily, naturally. You're a good dancer, she said, surprised. You taught me. Said every Mafia boss should know how to waltz. I said I wasn't Mafia. You said then I had nothing to lose by learning. I couldn't argue with that logic. Aurelia laughed, and something in his expression shifted. Softened like he'd been waiting to hear that sound. I missed that. Your laugh. It's been so long since I heard it without. He trailed off, jaw working. Without what? Without the weight of grief underneath it. After you died I found recordings, voicemails, videos, random clips. But they weren't the same. Weren't real. This is real. You're real. Finally. His voice cracked slightly. Aurelia's chest hurt. Do-joon. Sorry. Too much, I keep doing that. Future husband privilege. I keep forgetting I haven't earned that yet. You've time-traveled 3 times to save my life. I think you've earned something. She squeezed his shoulder gently. Maybe not husband yet, but friend? Complicated friend who knows my entire future and snoring patterns. He smiled despite the emotion in his eyes. I'll take it. Friends is good. Friends is a start. The music swelled, and they turned with it, lost in the moment. Aurelia caught sight of movement in the upper gallery, a flash of someone watching. When she looked again, they were gone. She tucked her hair behind her ear. Do-joon stiffened slightly, barely noticeable, but she felt it. His eyes scanned the room, subtle and quick. What did you see? He asked, still moving with the music like nothing was wrong. Gallery left side. Someone watching, then disappeared. He turned them in that direction naturally. A smooth dance move that let him survey the area. His expression stayed neutral, but Aurelia felt the tension in his shoulders. Minseo, he said quietly, the word barely moving his lips. Somewhere in the crowd, one of his men would be listening, responding. Gallery check. Left side. They finished the dance. Do-joon led her off the floor to where Champagne waited, keeping himself between her and most sightlines. Protective but subtle. Minseo appeared minutes later, leaning in to whisper something. Do-joon's expression darkened. What? Aurelia asked. Someone accessed the building's maintenance level. Unauthorized. They're trying to lock it down now, but... He looked at her, calculating. The structure supports run through that area. If someone wanted to compromise the building, that's where they'd start. We need to evacuate, Aurelia said immediately. If we do that, we lose our chance. Whoever's down there will vanish, and we'll be back where we started, waiting for the next attack. Do-joon's jaw set. I'm going down there. You stay here with Minseo and the others. Absolutely not. If you think I'm standing around while you play hero. Aurelia. No. We're friends, right? Complicated ones. Well, friends don't let friends walk into danger alone. She crossed her arms. Besides, I know this building. I've worked events here a dozen times. Know the maintenance tunnels because I've had to run power cables through them. You need me. He looked ready to argue, then stopped, seeming to remember something. Timeline 3. I tried to lock you away for safety. You left, said you wouldn't be treated like fragile glass. I'm repeating mistakes. So don't. Aurelia held his gaze. Let me help. Trust me the way you're asking me to trust you. After a pause he nodded. Okay. But you stay behind me and if I say run you run. Deal. Deal. They slipped away from the party, Mincio and 2 others following. The maintenance access was hidden behind a service door, stairs descending into concrete and fluorescent lights. Aurelia led them through the maze of tunnels, past electrical panels and water pipes, deeper into the building's skeleton. Voices echoed ahead. Do-joon raised a hand, signaling silence. They crept closer, finding a junction where 2 tunnels met. Light spilled from one corridor, shadows moving. Told you 30 minutes. That's all I need before structural integrity becomes a concern. Hendrix's voice, unmistakable. The party above will be too distracted to notice until it's too late. And the woman. Another voice, unfamiliar. Collateral damage. Do-joon loves her, or thinks he does. Her death will destroy him, leave him vulnerable. Then we move on his operations, take everything he's built. Do-joon's hand found Aurelia's, squeezed once. She could feel him trembling with rage, but his voice came out steady when he spoke, stepping into the light. Hello, brother. Hendrix. Taehwan spun around. Beside him stood the construction inspector from the photos, plus 2 other men in work uniforms. For a moment, shock registered on Taehwan's face before smoothing into that charming smile. Do-joon. I wondered if you'd figure it out. You're not as clever as you think. The surveillance, the bribes, the obvious setup. All predictable. Do-joon moved forward slightly, angling to keep Aurelia behind him. It's over. My people are recording this conversation. Your hired help here are about to be arrested. And whatever you did to the support columns is being documented and reversed. Taehwan's smile never wavered. You always were thorough. Father's favorite. The perfect son with the perfect life. Even now, time traveling to save your precious love. How romantic. You know about that. Please. I've had your movements tracked since you arrived. The device signature was easy enough to detect with the right equipment. I've known you were from the future since day one. Made it easier to plan, actually. All I had to do was wait for you to tip your hand, reveal what mattered most. His eyes slid to Aurelia. And here she is. Not quite your wife yet, but close enough. Aurelia stepped out from behind Do-joon, ignoring his protective instinct. Why? What did we do to you? You. Nothing. You're just a tool. But him. Venom dripped from Taehwan's words now. He got everything. Father's business, the respect, the success. I was the bastard son, hidden away, ignored. So I built my own empire, waited for the right moment to take what should have been mine. Father split the business evenly in his will, Do-joon said. You chose to sell your half, use it to build something separate. That was your decision. Because he wanted me gone. Out of sight, out of mind, just like always. Well, I'm not gone anymore, brother. I'm right here, and I'm taking everything. One of the workers moved, reaching for something. Do-joon's men reacted instantly, weapons appearing. Not guns, Aurelia noted with relief, but tasers, batons, clear intent to subdue, not kill. Don't, Do-joon commanded. Nobody else needs to get hurt. The workers step away, take their payment and leave. The inspector comes with us to explain what modifications were made. And you, Taehwan. You leave Ghana. Tonight. Disappear back into whatever life you built, and stay away from mine. Or what? You'll kill me. Your own brother. Taehwan laughed, bitter and harsh. We both know you won't. You're too honorable, too principled. It's your greatest weakness. No, I won't kill you. But I will destroy everything you've built here, expose every illegal operation, every bribed official, Every skeleton in your extremely full closet. You'll be ruined, not dead. Sometimes that's worse. The brothers stared at each other, years of resentment and pain thick in the air. Aurelia could see the resemblance now. Same nose, similar jawline. But where Do-joon's eyes held warmth beneath the hardness, Tae-hwan's showed only cold calculation. Finally, Tae-hwan nodded. Fine. You win this round. I'll leave. Tonight, Do-joon repeated. Tonight, Tae-hwan agreed. He looked at Aurelia one last time. You should know what you're getting into. He's not a good man, no matter what he's told you. Our business, our world, it destroys everything it touches. Including you, eventually. I'll take my chances, Aurelia said quietly. Tae-hwan left, his men following. The inspector started babbling about what he'd been paid to ignore, what modifications had been made. Min-seo and the others took him away to deal with authorities and repairs. Leaving Do-joon and Aurelia alone in the concrete tunnel, the weight of what almost happened settling over them. Are you okay? He asked. I should be asking you that. He's your brother. Half-brother. And not even a good one. But his voice cracked slightly. I thought maybe this time getting here earlier I don't know, fix that too. But some things can't be fixed. Aurelia stepped closer, took his hand. You saved me. Again, technically. That's what matters. Did I though? Or did you save yourself by insisting on coming down here? If you'd stayed at the party. He squeezed her hand. Timeline 3. You weren't at the building when it collapsed because I'd hidden you. But Tae-hwan found you anyway, killed you in our home instead. I thought keeping you close was the answer, but maybe it's just... Maybe there's no right answer. Hey! Aurelia turned him to face her. Stop. You're spiraling. We won, okay? Bad guy is leaving, building is safe, nobody died. That's a victory. For now. Until the next threat, the next timeline, the next. Do-joon. She squeezed his hands. You can't protect me from everything. Future me understood that, probably got frustrated with you trying. Past me, current me, whatever I am. I need you to understand it too. Life has risks. Loving people has risks. You can't time travel every time something goes wrong. I would though. I'd do it 100 times if it meant you got to live. The intensity in his voice stole her breath. That's not healthy. Or sustainable. Or probably physically possible. Probably not, he agreed. But it's true. They stood there in the flickering fluorescent light, hands clasped, something shifting between them. Aurelia felt it. The moment friendship tipped toward something more, something dangerous and wonderful and terrifying. We should get back to the party, she said, not moving. Yeah. People will notice we're gone. Neither of them moved. Do-joon. Aurelia. If I asked you to kiss me right now, what would you say? His breath caught. I'd say I've been wanting to since the moment I walked back into your life. But I'd also say I don't want to rush you, don't want to push for something you're not ready for just because I've already lived years of loving you. What if I'm ready? What if knowing you'd cross time itself for me makes me want to see where this goes? Then I'd say we should probably still wait. Take things slow. Let you catch up to where I am emotionally instead of dragging you forward too fast. He lifted their joined hands, pressed a kiss to her knuckles. I can be patient. I've learned that lesson the hard way. Warmth bloomed in Aurelia's chest. You're annoyingly mature about this. One of us has to be. He smiled, soft and a little sad. Come on. Let's go celebrate our fake engagement with real champagne and terrible small talk. Then tomorrow if you want we can have dinner. Just us. Proper first date. No explosions or evil brothers. That sounds nice. She let him lead her back through the tunnels, back to the light and music above. Can Pineapple come to dinner? Pineapple doesn't exist yet. We won't find him for another 2 years. Then I guess we'd better stick around that long to make sure we do. His hand tightened on hers, and Aurelia felt the hope radiating off him like heat. The party continued without incident. Tae-hwan's departure was confirmed within hours, Private jet logged leaving Ghana, destination Singapore. The inspector sang beautifully about bribes and modifications, leading to a full structural review that found and fixed every weakness. The convention center wouldn't collapse. Aurelia wouldn't die. Timeline was changed. 3 weeks later, Aurelia showed up to what she thought was their regular Tuesday dinner to find Do-joon pacing his apartment, looking nervous. What's wrong? Did Tae-hwan come back? Is there another threat? Her heart jumped. What? Well, nothing like that. He ran a hand through his hair. I need to tell you something, and I'm not sure how you'll take it. Okay, now you're scaring me. I'm leaving. Going back to Busan for a few months. Business that can't be handled remotely. He looked miserable. I don't want to, but it's necessary. Aurelia's stomach dropped. Oh, come with me. What? Come with me. Busan. I know it's fast, crazy even. We've only been officially dating 3 weeks. 3 weeks here, 5 years for you, she corrected. Right. Which is why I know this is too much to ask. But I can't. Aurelia, being apart from you after everything, after almost losing you again. Can't do it. So I'm asking. Come with me. Work remotely if you can, take a break if you can't. I'll cover everything, make sure you don't lose anything professionally. Please, come with me. You should say no. 3 weeks was nothing. But then again, he'd known her 5 years, loved her longer. And Aurelia couldn't deny what she felt. Something deep, real, growing faster than logic allowed. 2 months, she heard herself say. I'll come for 2 months. Trial run. If it works, we talk about longer. If it doesn't, we're honest about it. Relief and joy washed over his face. Yes, bae. 2 months. Thank you. Busan was beautiful. The apartment Do-joon kept there overlooked the ocean, all glass and clean lines. He'd warned her it was different from his Accra hotel, more personal. She saw what he meant immediately. Photos on the walls, books in multiple languages, small touches that screamed home rather than temporary lodging. That's us, she said, finding a frame on a shelf. The wedding photo, the one he'd shown her that first day. I brought it with me. Couldn't leave it behind. He came to stand beside her. It's the only photograph I have from the original timeline. Everything else was lost when I jumped. Do you regret it? Leaving everything? Not for a second. I'd leave 1,000 timelines if it meant finding you again. Work kept him busy during the days. Meetings, calls, dealing with his legitimate import business and the less legitimate aspects he still hadn't fully explained. Aurelia explored the city, video called her boss about remote projects, started building a client base that didn't care where she physically worked. Evenings were theirs. Cooking together, walking along the beach, falling into an easy rhythm that felt both new and ancient. He was right about her snoring. She finally believed him after he played a recording. She threw a pillow at him. He caught it laughing, eyes bright with happiness. I missed this, he said one night. Both of them curled on the couch watching some Korean drama Aurelia couldn't follow but enjoyed anyway. You literally did this with me before. Not the same. Every moment now is. It's not shadowed by loss. You're here alive, safe. I get to appreciate it without fear. He pulled her closer. Is that weird? Everything about us is weird. This is just bonus weird. She settled against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Steady real. Tell me something you haven't told me yet. About before. You really want to know? I really do. He was quiet for a moment thinking. You were terrified during the pregnancy. Not of being a mother, you were excited about that. But terrified something would happen to the baby because of my work, my enemies. You made me promise we'd get out, go legitimate, disappear if necessary. I promised I would. Did you keep that promise? I was planning to. Had everything arranged, just waiting until after the baby came. Then the building collapsed and... His arms tightened around her. I never got the chance. Spent 3 years dismantling Tae-hwan's organization in revenge before I found the time travel tech. Not my proudest period. Aurelia twisted to look at him. You went after him. I destroyed him. Everything he'd built, everyone he'd paid off. Left him with nothing. Then I found evidence he wasn't even responsible. Hired hand following orders from someone else entirely. I'd ruined my brother over a misunderstanding. That's why you let him go. In the tunnels. I owed him that much. Chance to walk away, start over. Maybe in this timeline, we both get to be better versions of ourselves. He kissed the top of her head. You're making me better already. More patient, more thoughtful. Less angry all the time. They fell asleep like that, tangled together on the couch. Aurelia woke briefly around 3. Felt Do-joon shift to pull a blanket over them both. His hand settling protectively over her stomach, even though she wasn't pregnant yet. Maybe wouldn't ever be, she reminded herself. This wasn't the original timeline. Nothing was guaranteed. But the possibility felt warm and right in a way she couldn't explain. Month 2 in Busan brought challenges. Aurelia's boss needed her back for a major event. Government gala, huge exposure, career-defining opportunity. The kind of thing she couldn't turn down without serious consequences. Go, Do-joon said immediately when she told him. Take the job. I'll come with you, split my time between Busan and Accra. You have business here. I have business everywhere. None of it matters more than you. He cupped her face gently. We make this work together, remember? That means compromise, flexibility. Not you sacrificing everything for me. They returned to Ghana as partners. Aurelia threw herself into the gala preparations while Do-joon handled his empire from hotel rooms and video calls. It worked somehow. They made it work. The gala went flawlessly. Government ministers praised her work. Her boss hinted at promotion to senior planner. Aurelia felt her career solidifying. Her reputation growing beyond that girl who faked an engagement. Except it wasn't fake anymore. Hadn't been for months. Do-joon proposed for real on the beach where they'd first walked in Busan. No ring, he wanted her to choose her own. Just him, on one knee in the sand, asking if she'd take a chance on their impossible love. She said yes before he finished the question. The wedding was small, intimate. Just close friends, Do-joon's business associates who'd become genuine friends, Aurelia's colleagues who'd become family. No press, no spectacle. Just them, promising forever in a garden overlooking the ocean. I know this already happened once, Do-joon whispered as they swayed together during their first dance. But this time it's real. This time I get to appreciate every second. You're such a sap, Aurelia teased, but her eyes were wet. Your sap. Forever. Forever came with complications. 3 months after the wedding, Aurelia collapsed during an event. Rushed to the hospital, tests run, worried doctors and a terrified husband. I'm fine, she insisted when she came around. Just dizzy, probably dehydration. You're pregnant, the doctor said gently. About 8 weeks. Mother and baby are both healthy, but you need rest and proper care. Aurelia looked at Do-joon, who'd gone pale. Hey, this is good news. Right. We talked about kids. What if something happens? What if I can't protect you both? His voice shook. I changed the timeline, but what if there's something else? Some other danger I didn't account for. Then we face it together. She took his hand, placed it on her still flat stomach. You can't control everything, remember? We live, we love, we take reasonable precautions, but we don't let fear win. You taught me that. I did. Future you did. I'm just passing it back. He laughed, shaky but genuine, and pulled her close. Okay, you're right. We do this together. All of it. The pregnancy progressed smoothly. They decorated a nursery, argued cheerfully about names, attended classes where Do-joon took notes like he was planning a military operation. Aurelia had never seen him so focused, so determined to get everything perfect. You know babies don't follow plans, right? She said, watching him create detailed schedules for feeding, sleeping, development milestones. I know. But planning makes me feel useful. Let me have this. She let him have it, understanding the fear underneath. This was the pregnancy that had ended in tragedy before. Every milestone they passed felt like victory, defying the original timeline's cruel ending. Month 7 brought unexpected visitors. Taehwan appeared at their door, looking older, tired, but somehow more at peace. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he said immediately when Do-joon opened the door ready for a fight. "I came to apologize. To both of you." They let him in, wary but willing to listen. He'd spent the past year in therapy, he explained, working through his anger and resentment. Built a new business, legitimate this time. Found someone who loved him despite his past. "I blamed you for father's choices," he told Do-joon. "But he made his own decisions. You were just the son he preferred, not the architect of my pain. I'm sorry for trying to hurt you. For targeting Aurelia. For all of it." "Why now?" Do-joon asked. "Because I'm going to be a father. Found out last week. And the thought of my child growing up with the same anger I carried." Taehwan shook his head. "I don't want that. So I'm here making amends, trying to break the cycle." They talked for hours. Not quite forgiveness, the wounds were too deep, but understanding. A tentative peace that felt fragile but real. "He's changed," Aurelia said after Taehwan left. "People can change." "I know. Doesn't mean I trust him, but..." Do-joon pulled her close, hand on her belly where their daughter kicked actively. "Maybe everyone deserves a second chance. God knows I've taken 3. Labor started on a Tuesday, 3 weeks early but nothing dangerous. Just their daughter deciding she was ready to meet the world." Aurelia had never seen Do-joon so panicked, running around grabbing bags, calling doctors, forgetting his phone 3 times. "Breathe," she told him between contractions. "You're supposed to be the calm one. I'm terrified. What if something goes wrong? Then the very excellent medical staff will handle it. But nothing's going wrong. She's just eager like her dad." 12 hours later, Rosemary entered the world screaming and perfect. Do-joon cried holding her. This tiny miracle he'd crossed time to ensure existed. Aurelia cried watching them, her husband and daughter, the family she'd never known she wanted until a man from the future crashed into her life. "We did it," Do-joon whispered, eyes never leaving his daughter's face. "She's here. She's real." "We did it," Aurelia agreed. The first months were chaos. Beautiful, exhausting chaos. Rosemary had opinions about everything. Sleep schedules, food, appropriate times for screaming. Do-joon threw himself into fatherhood with the same intensity he brought to everything, learning everything about infant care, baby-wearing her during business calls because she settled better against his chest. "You're a natural," Aurelia said, watching him sway gently while negotiating a shipment contract. "I'm terrified every second," he admitted. "But she's worth it. You're both worth everything." Aurelia returned to work part-time, building her business from home while Rosemary napped. She discovered she could consult on events without physically running them, advise companies on planning while other people handled execution. It worked for their family, let her be present while maintaining her career. Year 2 brought expansion. They bought a house with a garden where Rosemary took her first steps. Found pineapple. Exactly the mop footstool mix Do-joon had described. Abandoned near the market. The dog adored Rosemary, appointed himself her guardian, following her everywhere. "I told you," Do-joon said, watching dog and toddler nap together. "Prickly outside, sweet inside. You were right about a lot of things. Not everything. I thought we'd have more time before the next crisis." The crisis came via late-night phone call. Do-joon's voice tight with tension as he talked rapidly in Korean. Aurelia caught enough to understand. Problem with a shipment, accusations of smuggling, authorities involved. He hung up, face grim. "I need to go to Busan. Tonight. This could blow back on everything if I don't handle it personally." "How long?" "Week, maybe 2. I'm sorry, I know this is terrible timing. Go. Do what you need to do. Rosemary and I will be fine." She kissed him. "We'll be here when you get back." He left within hours. The house felt too quiet without him, even with a chattering toddler and enthusiastic dog. Aurelia threw herself into work, into motherhood, into not worrying about what might go wrong. Day 5, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Aurelia. It's done. Don't hang up. Do-joon is in trouble. Her blood went cold. What kind of trouble? The kind that gets people arrested or worse. Someone set him up, framed him for smuggling weapons. He's refusing to leave Busan until he clears his name, but the evidence is. It's bad. He needs help, and he won't ask for it himself. Why are you calling me? Because despite everything, he's still my brother. And because you're the only person he'll actually listen to. Tae-hwan paused. I know I have no right to ask, but. Can you come? Bring evidence from his Ghana operations. Show the timeline doesn't match the accusations. You're the only one with full access to his records. Aurelia looked at Rosemary, playing with her blocks. I have a daughter. I can't just. Bring her. I'll arrange security, safe transport, everything. But Aurelia, if he gets convicted on these charges, he's looking at 15 years minimum. Rosemary won't have a father. You won't have a husband. I know you don't trust me, and you shouldn't. But trust that I don't want to see him go down like this. She made a decision that would have seemed insane 6 months ago. Send the plane. We'll be ready in 2 hours. The flight to Busan was surreal. Private jet, security detail, her toddler treating it like a grand adventure. Tae-hwan met them at the airport, looking haggard but determined. Thank you for coming. I know this is. Where's my husband? Police custody, pending formal charges. But I've arranged a meeting. You'll have 30 minutes. Do-joon looked exhausted when they brought him to the meeting room. He stood when he saw Aurelia, shock and relief warring on his face. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be. Saving you, apparently. She set her bag on the table. Tae-hwan called. Explained the situation. I brought everything. Financial records, shipment logs, communications. Everything that proves you weren't anywhere near those weapons shipments when they supposedly happened. Aurelia, this is dangerous. If whoever framed me knows you're here, then they'll know I'm not someone who abandons family when things get hard. She pulled out folders, spreading evidence across the table. Now sit down and help me build your defense. We have 30 minutes and a lot to cover. They worked frantically. Do-joon explaining the accusations while Aurelia cross-referenced with her records. The timeline didn't match. He'd been in Ghana during every single shipment date, with documented proof. Meetings, events, photographs. Someone went to a lot of trouble to frame you, Aurelia said. Who hates you this much? Could be anyone. I've made enemies. He rubbed his face. But to have this level of detail, access to my operations, it has to be someone close. Your business partner, Aurelia said slowly. Young-ho. He has full access, knows your schedule. And he's been pushing you to expand into markets you've refused because they're too risky. Do-joon's eyes widened. He asked about weapons last month. Said there was huge profit potential. I shut it down immediately. What if he did it anyway, using my name and connections? Then we need to prove it. Aurelia pulled out her phone. I have access to your shared accounts. Let me dig. She found it within minutes. Transfers Young-ho thought he'd hidden, communications using Do-joon's credentials. Not enough for conviction, but enough to create reasonable doubt and start a real investigation. The lawyer Tae-hwan had hired took the evidence and ran. Within days, Young-ho was arrested. The charges against Do-joon dropped pending full investigation. Not quite vindication but freedom. Do-joon held Aurelia and Rosemary that night like he'd never let go. You came for me. Across countries, into danger. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Or family. You crossed time for me, I can cross a few countries for you. She kissed him softly. Besides, what kind of wife would I be if I let you rot in Korean prison? The smartest, most incredible wife in any timeline. He buried his face in her hair. I love you so much. I know. You've proved it about 1,000,000 times now. She pulled back to look at him. But maybe we could work on having slightly less dramatic incidents. For Rosemary's sake. I'll try. No promises though. Trouble seems to find us. They stayed in Busan another week, ensuring everything was settled. Taehwan surprised them both by offering genuine help. Contacts, resources, even testimony when needed. Why are you doing this? Do-joon asked finally. Because I want my daughter to know her uncle. Want her cousin to grow up with family. Taehwan looked at Rosemary, sleeping in Aurelia's arms. I wasted too many years on anger. Don't want to waste any more. The brothers hugged, awkward and uncertain but real. Progress. Back in Ghana, life settled into a new rhythm. Do-joon restructured his business, cutting ties with anyone questionable. It meant less profit but more peace. Aurelia's consulting work flourished, her reputation growing beyond event planning into full business development. Rosemary started preschool. Pineapple appointed himself her personal chauffeur, walking her to the car every morning. They talked about having another baby, maybe in a year or two. I want to do it right this time, Do-joon said. Not shadowed by fear. Just enjoying it. We can do that, Aurelia agreed. Year 4 brought challenges of a different kind. Do-joon's mother, who'd been absent from his life since childhood, suddenly reappeared, claiming she wanted to know her granddaughter. It was complicated, painful, opening old wounds he'd thought healed. I don't know if I can forgive her, he admitted to Aurelia. She left when I was 8. No explanation, no contact. You don't have to forgive her. But maybe you can listen to her explanation. Understand what happened. They met at a cafe neutral ground. His mother, Ji-woo, was older than Aurelia expected, face lined with regret. I was young, she started. Too young, trapped in a marriage I didn't choose. Your father was powerful, controlling. When I tried to leave, he threatened to make sure I never saw you again. So I ran, thinking distance was better than staying and being erased anyway. You could have called, written, something. Do-joon's voice was tight. I tried. He intercepted everything. By the time I had resources to fight, you were grown, established. I thought you were better off without me disrupting your life. That wasn't your choice to make. I know. Sorry. I'm so incredibly sorry. She pulled out photos. Do-joon as a child, newspaper clippings about his business success, a printout of his wedding announcement. I followed your life from afar. Celebrated your victories, mourned your losses. I know it's not the same as being present, but you were never forgotten, never unloved. They didn't find easy reconciliation, but they found a starting point. Ji-woo met Rosemary, tears streaming down her face as she held her granddaughter. Do-joon watched them together, something in him softening. Thank you, he told Aurelia later, for pushing me to listen. Family is complicated, but it's worth the effort when it works out. Year 5 came with expansion. Do-joon fully legitimized his business, partnering with Aurelia's company to create an event import hybrid that brought international goods to Ghana's growing event industry. It was innovative, profitable, and completely legal. Taewon's daughter, Minji, became Rosemary's best friend despite the age difference. The cousins were inseparable during family gatherings that would have seemed impossible years ago. We made it, Aurelia said one evening, watching the kids play while both sets of parents relaxed. Through time travel, attempted murder, false imprisonment, family drama. We actually made it. We did. Do-joon pulled her close. And I'm grateful every single day. This life, this family, you. It's everything I fought for across 3 timelines. No regrets about the time travel. The sacrifice. Not even one. Would do it all again in a heartbeat. He kissed her temple. Though I'm hoping we're done with the dramatic incidents now. Don't jinx it, Aurelia laughed. But the universe seemed to agree. The next years passed peacefully. business growth, family expansion when they welcomed son Kofi, watching Rosemary grow into a confident, curious child who asked about everything. "Daddy, how did you and Mama meet?" she asked one night during bedtime. Do-joon and Aurelia exchanged glances. "Well," he started, "it's a bit complicated. I like complicated stories." So he told her an edited version, leaving out time travel but keeping the essence. How he'd seen Mama being treated unfairly and stepped in. How she'd been brave and strong and made him want to be better. How they'd faced challenges together and built something beautiful. "That's romantic," Rosemary declared. "I want someone who travels time for me too. How about someone who just treats you with respect and makes you laugh?" Aurelia suggested. "That's actually better than time travel." "Debatable," Do-joon muttered, earning a playful swat. They tucked Rosemary in, stood in the doorway watching her settle with pineapple at the foot of her bed. Down the hall, baby Kofi slept peacefully in his nursery. "This is it," Aurelia said quietly. "The forever we promised. Better than any timeline I could have imagined." Do-joon wrapped his arms around her from behind, hands settling over her stomach in a gesture that had become habit. "Thank you for taking a chance on a time-traveling stranger with an impossible story. Thank you for being crazy enough to cross timelines for love." She turned in his arms, kissed him softly. "Best decision I ever made." They stood there in the hallway of their home, surrounded by evidence of the life they'd built. Family photos on walls, children's artwork scattered everywhere, pineapples chew toys creating obstacle courses. It wasn't the life from the original timeline. Wasn't the tragedy Do-joon had fled. It was better, earned through struggle and sacrifice and choosing each other every single day. "I love you," he whispered. "I know. You've proved it 1,000,000 times across multiple timelines." She smiled against his lips. "I love you too. Every version of you, every timeline. This one most of all." Outside, rain started. Gentle, not the thunderstorm Aurelia once feared. Inside, their family slept safe and warm and loved. The future stretched ahead, uncertain as it always was, but they'd face it together. Just like they'd faced everything else. Together. Well, there you go. Quite the journey from that slap in the ballroom to forever, huh? Makes you think about second chances and the lengths we'd go for the people we love. Thanks for sticking with me through this whole story. And hey, if you enjoyed it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.